I'm used. Hi there. Can you guys hear me? Can anyone just drop anything in the chat box? If you guys can hear me. Okay. Hi everyone. This is Hesham from the Information Lab, and I'm part of the 14th cohort of the Data School. And today we're going to build this Viz, my own Viz, for the last time, hopefully. So this is the end product, and the data set that we received was like this. So we received the name of the restaurant. So that's actually a US sample data. And unfortunately, I won't be able to go through the data prep because all contestants were required to delete all the data sources and the prep flows. But that's a sample data that you can find on Pitney Bowes' website. And I think it will be in the bottom of the video after the recording. So the data were for 13 countries around the world. And it had the name of the restaurants in here, the area name, the location, the postcode, the lat and long of each location, and also the telephone number, the website, if it's an eating place or a drinking place. It also had the group. It has the year the business started and the sales, and other fields that were mostly like 90% of them were no's. But the most field that caught my attention was the sick aid description, which basically had if this place was a coffee place or if it was like a Mexican place or a Brazilian place. You can see in the bottom here where it says Mexican or Brazilian or Italian. So as soon as I looked at this field, I had the idea of doing different cultures and cuisines and see how people eat around the world. And then I came across this website that is basically showing the map of Spain. And as you scroll down, you can see that it's kind of interactive and it takes you to each part of Spain and show you which part of Spain, what people eat in which part. You scroll down, you see another kind of behavior, and basically see what people eat in each region and the history of each region. So that's how I got the idea of doing a tour around the world to see the different cuisines and the cultures. So this is the final Viz. And I had give people the opportunity to drag the slider and visit each country and see, and these here were the type of cuisines and so on. So the Viz started with the location, with the actual location of the contest in Vegas. Was in here. So yeah, that's how the idea came about for this Viz. So let's start building it. So this is the output from, this is basically the output from the all 15 countries. I used only 12 countries because the data for the 13th one was kind of irrelevant. So this is the output. I had the cuisine and the country. So in Brazil, for example, they eat Brazilian and Mediterranean. And as you scroll down, you can see different countries and what cuisines they eat there. So I have cuisine, country, and here I have a field that is kind of flagging if this country is diverse or not. And I was the way I calculated this. So I calculated this actually in the prep flow. So many things I did in the prep flow beforehand so that I can save myself time instead of just dragging and copying and pasting with writing calculations on stage. I was trying to make my life easier, basically. So if 50% of cuisines in a country were from other countries, that means that this country is diverse. So Brazil, for example, was considered diverse. But if we go to US, it was diverse as well. But if you go to something like France, was not diverse because 50%, more than 50% of cuisines were French. So that's why the country was considered traditional. This is just a string. This subtitle here is just the subtitle, the dynamic subtitle of my header of the title of the Viz. So by every time I scroll, I would change, slide the parameter. This will change. I also did this in the prep flow to save myself time. And the slider calculation here is basically because I have a fixed route or trip. I wanted to start from US to Canada to UK. So I kind of hard coded them to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I go down number 2, for example, this should be UK. Yeah, this is the UK number 2. But if you want to do kind of dynamic route using parameter actions or something, I highly recommend this blog by Mark Reed, where you can draw or create any routes using parameters in Tableau. And it's kind of more dynamic than the way I did it because mine was fixed trip. So going back in here, and I think this is the diversity measure. This is basically the number of cuisines from other countries or any number of cuisines divided by the total number of cuisines. You have the country label, and I have here the Latin long of my origin and my my destination, basically, to create the trip and the route. And this is the cuisine percent of total. Okay, so the Viz started with our location in Vegas. So let me open this. Yeah. So the first thing I started with, so I spent 2 minutes at the beginning to do some global formatting and save myself time afterwards as I moved through. So I started with, okay, that was kind of formatted already. I started with choosing my font. I chose Benton Sans because it was already in Tableau. And you can also choose, well, let me send you real quick. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I started with doing some global formatting. I chose the font that I wanted to use. And the grid lines, I wanted them to be dotted and a bit grayish, and not very, just like 50% opacity. I wanted to remove all the zero lines and no trend lines. I wasn't using any reference lines, so I didn't do anything with these. The drop lines, I was using them like just kind of half dotted and white. And I wanted to remove all the axis rulers and remove the opacity for all the axis ticks. And I also started by formatting my first sheet. Started by the shading, I removed all the shading and the banding and the row dividers. And I also started copying and pasting all these calculations to save myself time, but I'll do them with you as we move forward to kind of make sense. And I was also using a map box, a map. So that's the link for the map. So I copied the map box and put it in top here. Manage maps, map box. Okay. So yeah, I started with our location in Vegas. So I had this calculations, which is basically TC, which is make point. And unfortunately, in Tableau Prep, you cannot kind of create these calculations beforehand. I don't think you can do any spatial calculations in Tableau Prep. So I had to do all my spatial calculations here. So create my TC. So that's make point. That's basically gonna show us our location in Vegas. And if you double click, we'll show the exact location. So I want to choose it as a circle, make it bigger, add them of the borders and the halos. I also wanted to adjust it to show the kind of the map of the US in a nicer way, kind of. And I also was using the parameter to drag everything. So I created the parameters and I called it fly, and it was float. So I gave it a range from, so I had 12 countries. So I gave it a range from 0, which is basically gonna show us this view, and a 13. And the 13th, when we go to 13, we'll show all countries. And as we go from 1 to 12, we'll show each country separately. And I started at 0, current value, and then I hit OK. And I created TC here, and I have this TC label that shows basically data fam in Vegas. And change the color of the circle and the font match color. So like this. And I had a calculation that shows so that when I drag the parameters, when I move along, oops, forgot to do something. Yeah, the size 1. So that when I drag the parameters, I want this to disappear and show the other countries. So their calculation, and I said GC filtered, if the parameter is equal to 0, then true. Basically, it's a Boolean calculation. So put this into the filters and hit true, so that when you scroll this disappears and the other countries will show up. So this is for the first map. I think we're done with it. So I used also, when I was on stage, to duplicate my sheets so that, duplicate my sheets so that I don't need to reformat it again and remove the shadings and remove the borders. So when I do that, it would kind of retain the formatting. So now we have here, when we scroll to the right, yeah. So yeah, when we scroll, basically we have the line, the base of the map, and the circle, the ring to show our location. And also there's a hidden map here that allows people to click and so that people can travel straight away using parameter actions. So we'll start by creating the base of the map and the line. so that I wanted to start from TC and go to Canada, the first one, which is basically the nearest, which will also allow me to end it in the US, like this. So first we want to start by making the line. So start by making line. Just the calculation for the line. This is basically showing if the parameter is less than or equal 12, because we have 12 countries, then make line between the origin and the destination. Just make line, click here. You need the make line, you need the point from the start and the end. So this section here is the start and this section here is the end. So this is the line function. And I don't want also to show this 0 anymore. I want to calculate another filter and show that if the slider calculation, which was the order of our trip or the destinations, is less than or equal to the parameter, then give us true, basically. And then I'll swap this and put the true value, and this will disappear because the parameter is 0. But if I go to 1, this should show up. But then we need to create our line. So we'll put our line instead of TC, basically, and convert this into a map, because the circle will show just the point, but if you do a line, if you do a map, it will show the line. And we'll remove the label. And I also wanted to make it a dual axis and make on the top to show the base of the map. Like I want the top to be the base of the map, so the order here matters. So remove here the line and put instead the countries. So now this would show the country and the line to the country. Then dual axis both. And then now you have the line to Canada, but then you can change this line to white to kind of be able to differentiate between both. Okay, return. And then I had a calculation that shows, that shows if the country that we're visiting is a diverse or not, which is map color. So if the diversity level is less than 0, then traditional, else diverse. You can make it a Boolean, but I wanted to put those strings so I can make it easy for myself and kind of think less on stage. Then I can put this here in color. So this is showing diverse now. It's showing only one color because of the parameter, but if you drag the parameter, this should show also now other countries. So now you can change both colors. Diverse would be orange, and traditional would be, oops, we need the yellow. Traditional showing yellow. And I also wanted to zoom out and just fix the map to show the full map. So just make it exactly. Yeah. So this is now, let me make it darker to be able to see it there. Yeah, so as you move now the parameter, it will show you the trip basically, but without the ring. It's quite cool with the animations. Well, it doesn't do anything to the line, but the colors of the map kind of changes nicely. Yeah. So now I'm gonna duplicate this map. So because I wanted to have the same kind of view of the map. So when I stack them on top of each other, they are exactly in the same kind of perspective, and because I zoomed out a lot. So I would go and remove all the zooming. I won't allow any zooming or anything so that I don't change anything by mistake. So now I'm removing, I'm kind of scrolling in and out. Now nothing changes. So now if you duplicate this, it will kind of retain, it will kind of retain the view of the map. So now we want to create the ring. Circular calculation for the ring. Yeah, this country circle. So this is basically saying if the order of the country is equal to the parameter, then give me the country. Put this there, and then let's just remove one of these. And country circle, we'll put it into here. This into shapes. Okay. Yeah, the country back. So this is now showing all countries. It's not just showing me one country, the country that I'm actually on. But if you change this country circle to geographic data onto a country, this will show only the current country, which is basically Turkey. So now you can hide this, make the ring bigger, and make it white. You can remove the colors, make it white. So now we have this. We can remove the tooltips because we don't need it. Now we can create another one and do a bug with the data. So now we can create another map with the without any filters, with the actual countries, with all the countries, so that when people click on any of them, they will be able to kind of navigate using the parameter action. So that's why I needed another one. And then you can create it as a circle and make it maybe a bit smaller. I think that's good enough. And then remove the opacity. It's kind of there now. No one can kind of see it. But now we can put the tooltips so that, because that's going to be on the top. So when people hover over it, you find the name of the country. So now people can click here and find the name of the country. I usually tend to remove the command buttons because now when someone clicks on a country, they can find the keep only and exclude and make a group or set or something. So I tend always to remove command buttons. So now when people click on it, it looks kind of cleaner. Yeah. So now you can duplicate this. So now we're finished with the maps. So this is the first map. Yeah. These are the other maps. Now I will remove the shading because I don't need it anymore. So I can stack them on top of each other. Yeah, so everything is there now. So now we'll start with creating my bar. So the bar, I have the countries here and sorted based on my trip and measuring the diversity level. So that's the bars. That's the diversity level calculation. So this is basically saying if we are in the if the parameter is equal to the order of the country, then give the diversity measure. Or if it's 13, then give the diversity measure as well for all of them. So that basically I'm trying not to show anything when I go to 0. When I start at 0. So now I have the diversity level. Just like this. So I tend always, when I did all the calculations at the beginning, I clicked on everything and right-clicked and formatted everything at the same time. So now I can do everything in average and change the number format to percentage. So now when I use any of these, it will give me a percentage and give me the average. So I have the countries here, the country label, and I had the diversity measure. Okay. I have the bars. I think we have white for the color. Yeah, that makes sense. And I had the countries. And I was sorting them. So this bar sort is basically 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically, based on the root. And sort them based on bar sort and using minimum. So this is the order of my root. And actually, I want diversity measure, diversity level, not diversity measure. Yeah. So this is now, when I move along, keep everything for me. But I didn't want it to change the axis. I wanted to fix the axis so people can see the difference as I go to different countries. So I was fixing the axis between 0 and 1.05 to get some space on top. So now when people kind of go through the trip, can see when the bars goes up and down. Tick marks fixed, and I wanted also to fix the tick marks to 0.5, so I can just keep the grid lines, just keep 3 grid lines basically. And I also wanted to remove the title, and I think this is done for this. And you can just change the tooltips, put it into this. So when we go to 13, number 13 will show everything, but for 0, nothing will show up. Then, and the second thing, we want to create these circles. So on the circles, we have the cuisines set on the x-axis and the cuisine dominance on the y-axis. So the calculation for the cuisine dominance, which is that one. So this is basically similar to the diversity level, but showing the cuisine by cuisine dominance. And it's also doing the same thing. And I also want to format it to be an average and change the number format to percentage. So now I have the cuisine. Let's just check that Yeah, our formatting is still there. Okay, so now we have the cuisine on the x-axis and the cuisine dominance on the y-axis. And I removed all the insignificant cuisines from my data set because some cuisines didn't make any sense, were just not almost present in the country. And now I have them as circles. And I had cuisine percent of total on size. Okay, that makes sense. And I also, I think, had labels. So when we go to our country, it shows the labels. But when we go to number 13, it doesn't show the labels. I think I have, yeah. I have this for the labels. So this is basically showing, saying if it's the parameters equal to the order and the cuisine percentage total is bigger than 0.02, just show me the label because I didn't wanted to show it to the insignificant cuisines. So now we can put label here and put it on the top and make it small. And I think I was also fixing it to -0.1 to 1.15. So -0.1 to 1.15. And change the title. And I also had grid lines every 50%. Yep. If that makes sense. And here's my tooltips. Yeah. And I was having this small circle inside that's just kind of showing the center of the circle. Just actually that doesn't need any colors or labels. You can just make it small and make it dark. Okay, dual axis both and synchronize the axes. We should have both. So I need to make the size of the circles a bit bigger. So you can fix the start and then drag this and fix the end so that when you change the parameter, the size stays fixed all the time. Yeah. It's smaller. Yeah. Then I want to change the header from here. And if I do this, make it darker. When I was clicking on any of the cuisines, it was showing some drop lines. So you can right click on the mark and then show drop lines. So whenever you click, you can show the drop line and you can hold control as well and show the rest. And then you can right click again and edit drop lines to show the labels and hit OK, the labels should show up. I think this is it for this view. This is Spanish. Yeah. Now we need to do the lines. So I had a separate output for the lines. So I did some spatial densification. I won't be able to to show the, unfortunately, the prep flow. But if anyone has a question or need help anytime, just ping in Twitter or send me an email. I'll be happy to help. So here I had the X and the Y, and so I have the cuisine and the country, the X and the Y, in the same order of countries. So, and also if you make sure that the name of the fields are exactly the same, you will, Tableau will blend both data sources exactly on both fields. So you don't need to worry about that. So all I did was put the X in here, it goes in here, and the Y, and I put country and cuisine. I think I had, so I used the map color. You can see these clips for that to make sure that both of them are blended on these two fields with map color here. I think it was the other way around, yeah. Then I went to analysis and I disaggregated all the measures and went to make them lines. Parameter control, and then you can hide these nulls. Actually, we had a filter. So I had a filter for the lines, the same as the other sheets. So this is basically the order, but it's using the order from the lines data source. So you can put this in filters now and keep it to true. And then this will show the lines at a time. But also the same with the other sheets. I wanted the lines to be fixed in one place and the axis not to move. So I fixed the y-axis into these numbers, -2 and 118, for no reason actually. It's just aligned perfectly when I use these numbers. So it's kind of trial and error type of process. So this is the y and this is the x. -75. So the numbers. And also remove the grid lines and remove the shading. I think that's good. We can remove the tooltips from here. I think that's okay. What's missing? So the map, bars, lines, circles. Now I need to do the title and the subtitle to make them change dynamically. So now, I think, yeah, I have a calculation for the title. So this is basically saying whenever I go to visit a country, show me the country. But if it's 13 or 0, the parameters show diverse diners. So this is now the title. We show the parameter, and this should give me the title for Australia. If I go to 13, give me diverse diners. Let's make it observe view. Make it a bit bigger. I think it was 42 or something. Yeah. Make it bold. And remove the tooltips. Have any shading here? Yeah. I forgot to kind of copy and paste. You can also copy formatting from other sheets and paste it. Now we have this, we can duplicate it, and we want our subtitle. So I have this one. So this is the subtitle, again, the same kind of logic. Hit OK, and put the subtitle instead of the title, and make it a bit smaller. Maybe that's okay. And yeah, can grab everything. That's good enough. Okay, so I had my dashboard 1,550 and 900 of height, and I had the dark background. Was it that one? Nope, I think it was that one. Yeah. So I had a dark background, and so I memorized all the pixels, but I had all of them written in here. So for the maps, I was using 0 to 100, 700, 700. And also the order of you dragging and dropping matters. So if you drag this blank and then drag the other blank, which let's make it, let's make this one white and the other one maybe orange. So the order that you drag and drop matters. So now you can bring this to the front, but if you drag this, the first one, it will always go behind. So if you drag the orange one first, it will always go behind the white one, which you can drag second, for example. So I would start by dragging the first one, which is this data farm in Las Vegas. I'll also remove all the zoom and the pane because they're kind of annoying when they show the dashboard. So this is the first map. So put 0, 200, 700, 700. And second one. Same, 0, 200, 700, 700. Yeah. And maybe check this. And take the 0, 200, same as well again. Yeah. You can check and check this. The lines in all the maps. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So I think just one is enough, which is the base of the map. So we can remove all the map layers from the other maps. Just gonna make it look cleaner with water. Yeah, now we don't have the lines or the borders of the map on the actual lines. Okay, that's good enough. Now we have the bars. I think they were 8, 630, 800, 630, 325, and 900. Oops, something like. Yeah. Okay, yeah. 800. I think that happened to InStage. Yeah. Okay, then you can remove the label. You can save these. One thing I forgot to do is to make the font of my dashboard all of it white. And this will make everything to disappear, which is fine now. Yeah. And I have the circles. Some circles. $800 to 200 and 500. Yeah, just make that a bit bigger. Yeah, that's good enough. And now put the lines on. They're a bit scary. Just put it down. Maybe 20. And yeah, so these were 875. $100. Yeah, so this is kind of a line, but you can see these ones don't align. So so this trick I learned from Mina Oskin, which really helped me in ArmViz. So you can click on G and show the grid, but that really doesn't help now. But then you can go to dashboard and go to grid option, and then you can change the grid size to 600, for example, or 300. We show a grid every 300 pixels. But I was kind of created a reference line for myself on 872 because of these year of the axis. I'll be able to drag them into a reference point. So now when I drag this, everything now aligns, and everything aligns to this kind of grid line, like a reference line. But also if you make a presentation mode, this grid line will disappear, so you don't need to worry about it. Even if you post it on Tableau Public, it won't show up. But then we had, what else we had? Yeah, I want to remove this one now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now I want to put the title on top. Again, 9. And also the, just make sure everything, nothing is truncated. Yeah. And also the subtitle. Keep it down. So everything. So now if you drag the slider, everything kind of changes. But when you go to diverse designers, if you pay attention here, you'll find that the word will go a bit down. It's not in the same kind of level. And also, if you hover over the text, you'll find an underline beneath the text. So to get over this, we can change the title into a max title and change the subtitle into a max subtitle. And this will fix it in the same place. So now they don't move and they don't have the underline beneath. So now we can just cover them with a blank so that, all right, let's put the slider first underneath, because we have the slider as and underline. So make it wide, and then you can customize the parameters and remove everything. Okay, here. And if you set it into 16, it will make it look like a line, but it will keep only the circle. And let's put the orders into front. Now sometimes if you move the mouse, you find like this white shading box around. So you can just get over this by putting a blank here and cover everything. But obviously that's the last thing that we threw at the dashboard, so that's gonna be at the far front. So you can click on here, fly, and set into bring to front. Now we're just left with the legend. Take an image. So I created the legend in PowerPoint. This is actually how the desktop looks like after I'm this. We have this. We have oops, it's too big. Then you have this, but then you can see that there's some stuff for the map at the back. You can just set the background of the legend, and we'll cover everything up. Just not sure. I think we're kind of good. Something, the tooltip, the colors. You can change all the colors of the tooltips from here. Let's make it gray. Now everything is gray. Yeah. And that's good enough. I think we need just the parameter action, so that when you click on the map, you can just jump it directly. I think the map is number 2, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, I forgot to set the orders here. Yeah, choose this. So this should trigger the parameters. So now when you click in the UK, you should change and visit the UK. One thing we forgot, which is when you click on a country, it just shows a white dot. So I created a separate color for the dots. So map color to that traditional would be yellow and diverse would be orange. So now when you click on the circle of the map, on any of the country, it kind of matches the base of the map, but it creates some kind of black border whenever you click on it. And yeah, I think this is it. If anyone have any questions, check. Yeah, let's put this at the back. Well, you get the idea. If anyone have any questions, please feel free to contact me anytime on Twitter, or you can reach me out so many places. I'll be more than happy to help. I hope you enjoyed or kind of learned anything from this. And thank you very much for dialing in. Cheers. Have a good rest of the weekend. Bye.